Hi everyone, thank you for being patient there. It was technical issues, so basically just to get Daniel out of it, it was my fault. It's nothing to do with internet. It's me trying it on my laptop instead of my computer, which as soon as I opened the device, it just seemed to freeze and not be able to handle it. So I thought my computer wasn't powerful enough for it. But anyway, we are back. We are with Daniel Granger. He was just telling us about his Schwarzkopf influences and what he does for Schwarzkopf. So I'll let you take it away again.
Guys, so just a quick one. Have you ever tried to use a left-handed pair of scissors? Now, I acquired these at the Akito stand when I was in when I was in Manchester. I borrowed them to kind of help someone cut hair. But trying to cut with a left-handed pair of scissors, or a left-handed person trying to cut with a right-handed pair of scissors, I get all mixed up there. I mean, it's very different. It's about the pressure you put on the scissor. When you really understand scissors, maybe I could use the left one in my left hand, but there are a lot of people out there that I've come across that can use both hands, ambidextrous, but they're kind of working with both sides of their brain, and that kind of fascinates me. I've tried to brush my teeth with the left hand, and I can't do nothing. Do you know what I mean? I'm holding baby in this hand, and I'm trying to do something in that hand. I'm like getting it all in my ears, stuff like that. Anyway, I want to try and get back to what I do for Schwarzkopf. It's perfect. He says it's good. So with Schwarzkopf, I became an ambassador for them for about 3 years ago, and it was just kind of changed the way my business works. The professionalism of the product, the way they kind of work their service as well, and their interaction with you and your salon and your brand and your team, and the opportunities. I mean, they do sponsor one of the biggest award ceremonies, which I've entered a few times, and we've come away with a couple of trophies before. So, with that brand, I feel really honored to be a part of that. But I also have my own brand, We Are Perfectionists, where we do, where we get other artists in as well that work maybe freelance on education. So I'm a big believer in education. I think education has been the driving force of why I'm so successful within my team. My team are that much more successful because they get excited that they're always continuing to tinker, learn, develop. Even in these adverse times, how many of you have actually gone, grab a doll's head? I see it all over the internet at the minute on your social media channels. I'm like, wow, these guys are really passionate about what they do. I'm looking at my guys within the team, and they're all kind of developing and doing something new. We're all trying to concentrate on our businesses at the same time, but the need to do hair is paramount. It really, I have to do it. I live for it. I love my clients. I miss them dearly. I miss my team. And my clients are my life. I've been cutting some of those guys since I was probably 15 years old, when it wasn't even a job and I was just practicing. And I have a great passion for it. And that's where I think the passion, if you have that much passion for what you love, and it's not about the money. That's a big thing that I teach people. It's not about the money. The money will come. It naturally does come. It's the more successful you are, and the more people that get behind you and you get behind them, and you're the driving force for being whether it's education you're into, whether it's, magazine work, competition work, it pays back. It pays dividends. The more you put in, the more you will receive. I mean, maybe it's about when I read the book The Secret when I was like 16 years old, and I've carried that. Be a positive person and you attract positive things. It's simple. Maybe it's a load of rubbish, but it's a nice way to live. So have we got any questions coming up?
Yeah, so we're just getting most people saying, "Yay, thank God it's working. Thank you for doing it again." People just basically saying it's perfect working now. But yeah, no questions so far. You're doing an absolutely brilliant job. Thank you very much.
Guys, if you want to ask some questions, please get on board and ask me. I've got 1 hour here. Maybe, yeah, and Simon's in my ear here, so he'll be telling me what you're saying. But be clean, be nice. It's been a long day for me. My baby's poorly. She's got a little bit of teething coming through. Bless her little heart. Gave me a big smile today after my teaching. So today I taught the assistants. Now, I'm not sure if you caught it earlier, but I'll cover it again. I had a massive group of people this morning join me for a free webinar, which I'm holding every single Monday, because at this point, people are not getting the opportunity to learn from their colleges or from their salon where they would normally learn, let's say, on a Monday. Usually that's the training day. So I thought, you know what? I want to teach my guys, because when I get back to business, I need a full team of passionate, ready to go people. So I brought all my team back in. I taught them a new haircut today. And it wasn't necessarily something that's going to change your, wow, that's incredible. It's a haircut that works for your clients. And I love salon friendly haircuts and a way to cut them, because initially that's where your money will come from, when you can do exciting things after. So with the money that you get from being a successful hairdresser and charging more money, you can use that pot of gold to market your business, market you, enter a photo shoot, go and assist someone in London and buy the tickets. And I'm a great believer in, you do have to do stuff for free at the beginning. Of course you do. It gives you the opportunity. You have to reach out for there. I've got a good friend of mine that I made really good friends with, Daryl Taylor. He pestered me for a long time to kind of come on board. But I was like, dude, you're passionate and I'm going to follow you. You're going to follow me. And now we're good friends. We talk all the time and we share our ideas. And that's how it is. I got in touch with Adam Reed, and Adam Reed come up to my salon, experienced it. And now Adam Reed's going to do a class for me under Adam Reed Education. Without reaching out to people, you won't get nothing. You've just got to get off your ass and do something about it. If you want it, go get it. It's there for you. It's those people that procrastinate about being something or doing something that are never going to do anything. I'm the guy that gets up and cracks on. And because I'm passionate about it and I feel the fear and I just do it anyway, fear drives me. Anyway, I can ramble on and ramble on. I can keep going and teaching you about the why, but you find your own why. You find what makes you tick. And that, when you get that buzzes you. I pulled this haircut out because I thought you don't want to just stand here and watch me talk to you. Because I could do that all day. I deliver kind of motivational seminars and stuff, and that's not because I'm good at it. It's because I've had a lot of life experience. I know what it is to lose everything. And when I say I'm up from the bottom of the pack, and I'm going to save that because I'm going to do a How to Cut It podcast, and hopefully you'll be interested in what makes me go, because there's a lot more to me than what you see today. I've been a very different person. I've traveled, I've changed. My mind's always been there, but I've kind of become this different guy, and it's all through the love of cutting hair. Hairdressing has saved my life, but I'll save that one for the How to Cut It. Now, I've pulled out a haircut, and I literally was standing there with the wife, and I said to her, well, what do I do? What am I going to do to all the other hairdressers that are out there looking for something to be inspired by on a haircut? And I just thought, well, do you know what haven't you done in a while? And that's looking at your different shapes. So when I'm looking at shapes of how to cut hair, I combine. So all the time I've got a triangle, I've got a square, and I've got a circle, because I learned that from the foundations of the cutting techniques. They all belong together. But once you combine those techniques together, the array of haircuts that you can produce are amazing. It's like you understand your technique. So you know a line is a line. And that's cut at 0 degrees. There's nothing, truer to a line. It's just a line that's flat. It's cut lovely. It's straight. Just to cut a line is actually a real good skill. And it's about, tucking the hair under and doing stuff like that. And each section belongs on top of that section to get a true line. First of all, you challenge yourself with a perfect bob. Forget the graduation, just try and get a perfect bob. Then we've got layering. Now, layering is the lightest form. And there are many different types of layer. Would you call this a graduation, or would you call this layer? Because at this point, what I've done is I've decided to stand my body position behind the haircut and pull the haircut out nice and straight like this, and just kind of keep working my line like this. And this gives me the straight edge of a square layer. And so all of this is cut equally into a straight line like this and like this. And I kind of found a technique for everything that I do. And everything that I pre-visualize, I can just understand it, because I'm built from memories, and I must have been taught this at one point. I must have come across it at one point. And then I've kind of maybe mixed up two memories and gone for the two change on there. So when I look at this haircut I could put out by itself, and this is just the framework of it. So I've graduated or layered, which one is it? Because when it kind of builds down, if you think, well, that length and that length is actually shorter than that length, that is there because of the shape of the head. Once you understand the shape of the head and the anatomy behind it, and then you combine it with the shapes, you can change everything. You can really excite yourself about, okay, if I did that, what would happen? If I did that, what would happen. And you don't know until you start experimenting and start trying new things. So get yourself out your comfort zone. Yes, you probably are very good at a graduated bob. Well, maybe try and cut it a totally different way. Like really think, okay, I want that look, but if I try and do it a different way, what outcome will I get? So I'm going to show you now. So all I did there was I stood behind and I made sure that my body shape was square to this. Now this is like more of a Mazzala and Palmer haircut, where the technique is the strength of the haircut. And their haircuts are so precise and so beautiful, and that really gives you a true understanding. Not necessarily will you use it in the salon, but it gets your brain working a little bit harder, and it makes you understand that precision is needed within the industry right now. A lot of people are coming away from the color side of things because color is dominating this. And I spoke to a good friend of mine, Niall, over in Ireland, and he and me both have the same ethos about the haircut. I'm more of a cutter than I am a colorer, and the younger generation are more colorists now. They explore color, but they've forgotten the art of the haircut. But what happens when that haircut comes back round? Well, they're going to have to relearn and retrain, but that's okay, because they'll probably be better at balayage than me. But I get a team of people doing my color for me. I remember having to foil every single section to get the result that I needed. And we'd stand there and it looked like a game of cards, a pack of cards really floating in loads of foil. And that was strenuous. And when they brought out the hand painted, the bit of art, it brought the frill of the haircut into color. Do you know what I mean by that? It was just like the synergy was just timed perfectly. And for the color houses, they were like, wow, we're now stepping the gear up a different level. But the haircut is due to really kind of come back and understanding that you can't just chop hair. You can't just chop at it and it be okay, because a haircut is designed to sit beautiful for 6 to 8 weeks. And with those precision bobs as well. And that's the generation that's going to come back. So I feel that will come back around again. And so training in how to do beautiful salon looks is a must, is definitely a must. Now I'm going to show you a little layer here. And I'm just going to kind of dress it over the top of this haircut, which I've done. And I'm going to finish that off in a minute. So I'm going to just get this layer, and I'm going to show you more of an advanced technique. Now, one of the guys that I learned from was a guy called Gianni Scamacci. And Gianni Scamacci was a good mentor of us. We didn't always get along, and we didn't always see eye to eye. You're never going to. You are very different people. You're very different artists. But you have a mutual respect for the understanding of hair. You're never going to unleash that. That is it. You both do hair, and you're both passionate about hair, and you both have a different teaching method. I've come across teachers in my time that I'm really, really, really kind of like, wow, man, you just inspire me. And that's what I want to do one day, is that I want to inspire other people. With that in mind, hopefully one day, maybe when I'm 60, I'll get there. But I kind of sometimes feel like I've kind of landed the perfect job, and that's to cut hair. And that's because I spent a lot of time on my craft. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to use that section point there that I've got, and I'm just going to use this and just disconnect that a bit, just kind of get my angle on there and just dress that top section so that kind of just hovers over. Now I'm going to use this angle, which is more of a flat angle. So that's when that sits around the head. I always like to do this. Where's it going to go? And that's just going to sit on there and give me that little bevel there. Now, the difference that I learn in education is that I seek other countries' education, and I seek them out to see what they're doing. And at the minute, me and Simon were just having a good chat about that. And that was... yeah, we had a little chat about, what is going on. And I'm in some group chats with some of the best American hairdressers out there. And I watch what they keep putting out. And they are, and I'm afraid to say it, they're a little bit ahead of us when it's regarding, their social media. One, their countries are a lot bigger, and there's a lot more people. And that's why you'll see American hairdressers with a greater following than we could ever wish for. And that's because they are probably that little bit more kind of go get it, a bit more passionate. Now, not to say that we're not, We are, but we are in a very conserved way, a very different way. That's what we like to do. Now, you see what I'm doing here is I'm elevating this layer. I'm pulling it up with each one. I'm just giving a little turn back just to get the extension of length through the outer perimeter edge. So when I cut that, I like to see it like coming round and then just gradually getting the perimeter length more even and more equal as that goes. It's a layer that I really love to work with because it's just it kind of gets me excited when I cut the hair. I get excited about whether I can get the equal balance between the two sides. So can I get the form? Can I get the balance? Can I end up where I want to? I almost set myself games when I'm educating myself of if I do that, what's going to happen? And I'm the worst critic, or my biggest own critic. I hate myself sometimes. I fall out of myself a lot when I don't quite get it right. Now, I don't know if you can see that. Am I at the right angle, Simon?
Yeah, it's all good, mate, and I'll use that point to jump in here because we did have a few questions earlier, but I was so intrigued as to what you were saying, I stopped reading them, mate. So so I've gone back up the list. I'm just going to read them out for you now. What do you say when a customer says, "What cut is in fashion now?" That's Jenny Murphy O'Neill.
What do I say when a cut's in fashion?
When the client says, "What cut is in fashion now?"
I just make it up.
Me too.
I just wing it. I just give them something from in here and I lie. I don't say I lie. I bend the truth to whatever I think they want to hear. About being a good people person is about being a good hairdresser at the same time, or vice versa. You have to know who you're talking to. So they say what's in fashion at the minute. Why are they asking that question? I see in America the mullets really coming back in. That kind of unsheveled shag. It's going to take a long time for that to come here because we're just not into it. We've done that. We've actually done that. That was let's say that was 12, 13 years ago where we actually had that haircut as part of our fashion. So we're not seeing it come straight back in and think, oh, that's quite cool, because we know what that does to a haircut. So we're not understanding that the mullet's there. But there are certain clients that you can put that on. So if you said that to a client, oh, the mullet's coming back in, man, they're going to dart out the chair because they think that's what you're into. So you tell them what you want. Do you know what I mean? I've had a mullet. I've had a mullet. Did you have? I had the tail, man.
Yeah,
I used to take care, and then where we shaved the front.
Yeah.
Everyone in my town came for us for that haircuts, didn't they?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? That was the haircut. Where'd you get that done? Oh man, I got that. I got that done by
the
Simon.
Back bit of your hair, didn't you? You didn't straighten anywhere else, just that mullet bit. Make
Just
sure
that
it
one
was
bit.
possible.
Yeah, and we've been there. See, so we've already been there. So are we behind or are we in front? Where are we within the united kind of hairdressing world? We are cross-trending massively now as well. So we do a lot of repetition. We look at maybe inspiration for Australia when we do the awards. We wait until see what they've done, then it comes back to us, then it comes from us, then it will go over to another country, and it just keeps evolving. And that's what it is. You always get inspired by something that you've seen. Some of the greatest hairdressers that I really respect, I mean, Robert Eaton and Adam Reed, their work is so different, but I have respect to it on both parts. The reason I got into my artistic work was because of Angelo Salmonara. That for me, I just looked at that hair and I just said, that's incredible. I mean, he's got a great colorist as well that really work well together. I've seen him do some work for Schwarzkopf as well. So I have a real good respect for what we put out there. So I can go off on a tangent, by the way.
No, you're
sorry.
all right,
I am sorry.
It's all right, mate. You're making me distracted. I need to get my head back in the game. I keep listening. Maybe a daft question, but how do you cut a baseline in the nape when you are starting a bob? How do you decide what arc to create and determine the shape of the bob?
Okay, that's it. There's a few things here. Okay, so we've got this square bob here. So depending on the outline of the direction at the front, so the money shot, where is it going to be? Is it going to be a square? Is it going to be a triangle? Is it going to be curved? That dictates the outcome of where you're going to be. Obviously, the wearer's hair type as well. You can't cut the same haircut on everybody. It just doesn't work. So you've got to really kind of read the hair, read the nape, read the outcome. So what happens from here to here? Where's the length sit here? And that dictate, is it coming down like a sharper haircut? I'm going to show you that later on here. But whichever you want the emphasis on as well. So do you want the line to be the emphasis or the layer? There's the two things. Do you want it to be the line, the graduation, or the layer, the emphasis on that? Because you will dominate the graduation first, the layer, the line in afterwards. And you see a lot of this work going on where, they're graduating, then we've left all this hairline out. And I'll show you that in a minute. I'm going to cut that off for you, actually. No, you said that. I was going to leave that out as just something a little bit different, but I'm going to show you that. And then it's kind of like theory and practice. Sometimes I cut a haircut knowing the exact outcome, but sometimes I just push it a little bit further and kind of see where that kind of takes me. And living in a world of the unknown, the surprise. Yeah, I mean, I don't like surprises too much these days, but if I did that and that did that, and I don't always get it right, I still to this day have an outcome in my head, and sometimes it just goes off. And it goes off, and I'm like, okay, that developed into something nicer. And I have this ability to kind of find a mistake and make it a positive thing. Do you know, like, so, okay, that didn't quite happen. And, Simon, as a barber, you probably once or twice maybe took that fade up a little bit higher, but actually that was a wicked mistake. And now, do you know what? I'm going to do that on the next one. Sometimes mistakes are good to make. Sometimes they can really upset you. So don't try and...
I got interviewed for a magazine once, and they were saying, have you ever done a footballer's haircut wrong? And I said, well, it was only at Lee RMI, and most people won't know who Lee RMI are. If they're not football fans, they definitely won't know who they are. And I said, but he's called Owen Roberts. He's a good friend of mine, so I'll name drop him. But the guard flew off halfway up the side, the number one.
No, what? You hear about that?
Oh,
it just clipped up.
Since that day, I've never let go of that tab.
Did you hear? Gets here, doesn't it? Your heart, but it's not your heart here. It's your gut that stings with that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your heart doesn't hurt. Your gut stings, and you suck back into yourself. The world goes woo, 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 and you're like, you're so passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
That when you do make that mistake, you go to shit, don't you? Your anxiety is up here. So what did you do to rescue it?
My dog's barking. Basically, that was how I started doing skin fades, to be honest with you. That's the start of it. I don't think there was in fashion when I did that, and I learned how to do a skin fade.
That's when you learned how to do a skin fade from the mistake of that guard coming off. I love that. That's brilliant. I've done a lot of things. So when I was working on body fixers, I worked on there, for 2 seasons. That's 20 shows, and the amount of clients that I had on there, and some of the things that I was doing on that show, believe it or not, as much as we kind of made it look like I knew what I was doing, sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I just made it up and hoped for the best, but I was using those memories of what I've been taught and those little skills that I kind of thought, I got that, and then if I didn't know something, I'd go and learn it. That's what the youth of today, you can be better. You guys, you don't have to follow any of us or any of your peers. You can be your peer very quickly because the access of information is out there. Like, you can absolutely make a fortune in success if you choose to.
Kay Farrow agrees with you. Sometimes I've done a cut and done it different, maybe to not meaning to, and then it was really worked out well. I don't like to stick to the rules, bespoke all the way, and I kind of agree with that. And I think the reason I fell into that trap, I don't know about yourself, but I wasn't educated properly when I started hairdressing. I came out thinking I could cut hair, but I didn't. I just knew how to create a shape or a haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We have this saying, and now Adam Reed is going to really kill me for this, because it was actually like we both stood there. He came down. He was in one of my lessons, just observing before we went to dinner. And he, I said to him, he said, first of all, you've got to learn the rules before you're allowed to break them. And I was like, that's what I say. I say that because it's really true. You've got to learn the rules first to really know what you're doing. But as I say, I was self-taught. I didn't go to college until much later on. You just grab it, you just do it, you get a passion for it, and you go, oh, I like this. Why did you do it, Simon? Why did you become a hairdresser? You are a hairdresser and a barber, or?
So basically, yeah, I fell into. I always wanted to be a footballer, but because of my disability, I had to accept at a later age that that wasn't possible. So I
Right.
found another route is as to what inspired me around football, and it was the hair and the fashion and then I met a hairdresser in my town that, forgive me for saying this, but I was a young naive man, and then this hairdresser brought me into his world, and he introduced me to his missus, and I kind of just thought, he's got it nailed on. This guy, he's got like women around him all day. He's living like a rock star. And then I said, a 17-year-old man, that's exactly what I wanted to live like.
I mean, like, so my experience with that is exactly what you're saying. We are, these people that kind of like take hairdressing really passionate. We are creating our fans. We're rock stars in our own light, and it's about what does a rock star do? He gets out there, he plays his tunes, he gets in the zone, he loves it, and then he makes someone feel good with his music. We make people feel good with our hair, with our talent, with how we color their hair, how we cut the hair, how we communicate with these people, how we interact with these people. And same with our teams as well. It's the same thing. When you get that kind of passion for music, my brother was actually a rock star. He was a drummer. Yeah, he was a drummer. And his passion, when I saw him behind the drum set, and he was in there. He was in a different world. His face would change. He would glow up and he would swear and he'd know every beat and every 12 songs he would know. It's the same with us with our passion for hair. We know 50 different types of haircut and we can just jam. That's our art, and you find your art. And that's what happens, and then people come and see you for your art.
Just to echo what you're saying, my brother is a singer and a guitar and all that lot, and it's very similar, like you're saying. It's the create. We're just all a creative family. Like your family seems to be a creative family, and you're just
Yeah.
finding where your passion is going to sort of come out of you, where you're going to show that creativity.
Yeah, there you go, bro. Look at that. That's we have something very in common. I knew I liked you for a reason. I knew I liked you for a reason. And usually, in life, you will gravitate to people. And how funny is it? Because when I saw Jamie Stevens on your platform, I actually thought it was Jamie's platform when he came on. And I've got massive respect for Jamie because the reason I got into like my education and stuff like that and my platform work was I saw Jamie on stage for GHD years ago. I turned up to this show and I was like, see this young man, similar age to me. I think he's a bit older than me, definitely a bit older than me. And I kind of went, I want to do that because he looks like he's having a great time. And he had his audience around him and what he was saying and what he was delivering at such a young, passionate age. I went, yeah, I want to be that guy. So we always admire somebody, and that's what drives us to do the certain things that we do. Um, you know, to, your brother, what does he sing? What does he sing?
So
Yeah.
people know this that have seen me do my lab because I mentioned it in there as to why I'm so passionate about men's hair. And it was firstly to do with footballers, but the reason I think I got good at it is because my brother is an Elvis tribute now. And
Yes, he is. Great at parties. Right. So when we get out of lockdown, Si,
yeah,
we're coming over your house and we're inviting your
unbelievable.
brother around for a party, right?
Yep. He's so good, mate. I'm not even bigging him up because I used to bully him non-stop. I'm like, what are you doing singing out? No one
Tease
in
him.
our family,
Tease him.
honestly, no one in our family liked Elvis. I'm like, what are you doing, mate? You need to sort of like listen to some real music, like bloody Westlife or something, whatever we're out then. And
That's right.
and then he
Just admitted
basically
that
wanted a
live on
quiff.
face.
Yeah, he wanted a quiff, and I'm talking 15, 16 years ago. He wanted a big quiff. When back then everyone had the fringes shaved off, like me and you were saying.
Yes. No,
So
you
I
didn't.
learned how to create that shape, and then I thought I don't actually know how I did that, so I went and learned how did I do that.
How do you do that? The arts and crafts of it. I mean, I this takes me back to a conversation that I've always wanted with this man, and his name's Stephen Smart. And every time I go to an exhibition show, I always see him, and we're always working on a nice stand together, and we're sharing passion and creation. And I actually put a lot of research into Stephen's why he does what he does, because he's just very a different kind of hairdresser. And he actually grew up in the competition world, as in the world of competitions, where those sort of haircuts, where the fade and the quiff, and every haircut had to be a replica perfection of perfection. It wasn't about just putting out a bit of work and looking at what photographer you can pay the money to and get the most best models. You all had an even playing field. You had one doll's head, and it had to be a replica of that. Now I know Mazzaro and Palmer, they've put a competition out there. I think, am I right, to create the most perfect graduation on adults' heads whilst in isolation. I just think, wow, you know, who's going to take them up on that? That's going to be amazing to win that, because they're the best in their business. You know, they're the best in their business. Like, I just kind of think those sort of different competitions, you have to put yourself out, have a go, have a go. Even if you fail, you've had a go. You've got up and you've had a go. You know, so
Interestingly, some people are asking, can they come to the house party with Elvis? They're saying they want to join us, so I'm like, yeah, absolutely, open event. But that's now led on to the conversation taking a turn into a hair social show would be amazing. Let's get everybody together.
I'll tag you with that, man. I tell you what, we'll have a perfectionist,
Yeah,
yeah, and a social gathering.
we'll
Why
do his
not?
own pro
Why
hair,
not
mate.
get everybody that did something different now, you know, and pull them together to say thank you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've been watching some of your socials, and I'm just like, thank you. You know,
Oh,
thank you
mate,
for bringing
massive.
that to our doorstep, because you know, it just kind of gives us something to really get passionate about and see other passionates. We saw Andrew Barton the other day,
Yeah.
and I followed Andrew Barton for years, and I just thought, wow, you know, he's got Andrew Barton.
Mate,
It's,
I've no idea how I do it. I'm just a lucky guy. I ask people for help, and I like to think it's because I've been nice on the way up that I've now asking for favours back. That people think, yeah, go on then, or I'm the, you know. But I speak to a footballer who's in the Premier League now, and me and him get on so well. And he's one of
yeah,
my first clients when he weren't even in the Premier League. And we both say the same thing about if you're nice to everybody on the way up, one day they will need someone, and you need to be the first person they think of.
it's very right.
And
Kindness.
yeah, exactly, man. Like you just said, it's about gravitation, and people might cringe at us saying this, but The Secret and the Chimp Paradox and all these books that sort of educated me on how to be a better human
Yeah.
impacted my career as well.
But that's right, isn't it? You know, it's the secret, the chimp paradox. You understand your behavior. You understand why you do the things that you do. You understand if someone comes in your zone and tries to step on you, of why you reacted like that, why your body says that. Because we're all born from something. And it's generations of what we've been taught. It's like, you know, why are certain countries or certain regions of people afraid of dogs? They're afraid of dogs. They don't like dogs. It's because they were used in their common language as guard dogs. They were there to be scared of, you know? So understanding stuff like that, understanding why somebody down, why is someone so anxious? Why aren't they just why haven't they got the give and the go that we've all got? Or it's because they've never been shown it, you know? And one day, if they hang around with you long enough, you know, going back to the difference of what kindness does and what we understand. My brother became a very, very big drug addict, and he eventually died at 32 years old. And you know, it was a very sad situation because he was getting better. But understanding his mind, and I needed to know why they took him away from me. You know, why they take someone like that? He struggled most of his life, and then you took that, and I struggled with that in my mind. So reading these books of self-help, Reading of why, the why. You know, I need to know why my brain is doing this. Why do I feel like this? That, yeah, I get so passionate about that. Yeah, you got to understand that. And then, do you know what I did? I understood kindness. If you do everything with good intentions, you're going to be okay, man. You're going to be nice. You're going to be humble, and people will come around and they will believe in you one day because you are a nice person. And people will walk all over you. Yes, that happens. Yes, that happens. But don't let it change you. Don't let it define you. Just keep being kind. Keep being nice. Keep thinking positive thoughts. You know, when that little kind of neggy Ellie gets inside you, just bat it away. Just go, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that.
I feel like we've got you on the wrong show, mate. I don't feel like you should be doing this seminar. I feel like we should be sat on Sunday socials chatting about life and the world and turning this into our podcast. But I understood that you're already going on things, so we won't do that till after that. But yeah, I didn't really. Yeah, I can't agree with you anymore, mate. It's just about you make your own luck, and you've got to make yourself available for that luck to happen. The secret, going back to that one. If you don't believe it, it will never happen. But a lot of people are showing you some love about your brother, mate. I won't read them out, but yeah, they're all saying how.
Yeah, don't man, you'll make me cry.
Exactly, yeah, I'll leave that one there. But a lot of love's coming in. Excellent advice. Thank you for sharing. From everything bad comes something good. That I use that one through great difficulty becomes opportunity. That was Albert Einstein. That's the one I use. As one
That's
of my
beautiful.
mantras.
Say that one again. Say that one again. With great
Difficulty comes opportunity.
Oh, I love that. I was speaking to Daryl Taylor about that the other day, and you never know what you're gonna give or gonna give somebody. You're gonna give them a gem now and again, you know. Do you know who gives me a lot of gems? Will Smith.
Yeah, I like Will Smith. I do like Will Smith.
Ah, someday someone's gonna come along and give you a gem, and you're gonna, and you know he'll laugh a bit funny, but I love him. I absolutely love him. He really inspires me. You know, he's got a good way of living, a good way of life. He kind of really works it. I'm just jamming with hair here, by the way.
Yeah, this is what I love.
I haven't even really kind of like thought of the direction that I want to kind of go in. I just kind of like blow drying it out, see what happens.
Well, do I have a couple of questions? I mean, most people here, the chat has definitely gone off on a tangent about doing a hair socials, like what they're going to wear for hair socials, where we're going to have hair socials, the event. And then there's other people asking about the hair. A lot of people are talking about what we're saying about the positivity and how inspiring you are, Joe Mayhew. That was Joe Mayhew saying how inspiring you are.
Thank you.
But just a couple of questions on the hair, just while we're drying it. I'll ask you so you can answer. Basically, let me find them in my unprofessional manner. Tracy Dunbar has said, are you drying them, putting your twist on it?
Am I?
Drying it and then putting your twist on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? I just thought I pulled this haircut out a little while ago. I hadn't quite finished it. And I thought, you know what? The best time to do great hair is when you're talking about hair or thinking about hair. And I thought, you know, I want to do something a little bit different that I haven't done in quite a long time. So, and then I don't, sometimes to do hair and not know where you're going with it is beautiful. To let it evolve, and sometimes, as you say, you'll make mistakes along the way. I wouldn't necessarily, if this was a client, I'd always have a plan. I don't really go in with a non-plan with a client. I always know my end result. I always know what pre-visualization of what I want that hair to look like and how I want it to fall, because they're paying me a salary. You know, they're paying me to do their hair. They will get something of perfection. Whereas when you've got a doll's head, do what you want. Do what you want. You know, if you've got a haircut in mind, do that. Really kind of, you know, if I carried on one section and carried all the way through using that technique that I've learned, what would happen? And you might even use that on your clients as well.
I agree, mate. I agree. We have got a few questions rolling in, but just before I read them, we have a lady called Jade Lowry Jones.
Jade Lowry Jones, yeah.
Who said, Dan gave me a chance to work for his amazing team, and it's honestly changed my life.
I love you, Jade.
So there you go.
I love you, Jay. Like, I've built such a beautiful place to work.
Yeah.
I bought my own building. We have 6 apartments above it. We have a restaurant in the grounds. We have our academy downstairs. We have 10-meter high ceilings. It's all, we've got 3 pianos in there. I've got a bar made of pennies. We've got a salon dog, and the people that I've attracted now in my life, where I really attract the right people. And Jade came along. She was working for another salon very successfully for a long time, and she never thought about moving anywhere else. And it took a lot of convincing to get around to step out of her comfort zone and try something else. Now, guys, if you work for somebody, not saying this is a reflection on you, Jade, but if you work for somebody and you're not happy, change it.
Yeah.
Change it now. Don't make it their problem. Don't make it your boss's problem. Change it. It's up to you. Don't, it's usually the combination of 2 personalities and not getting on, or you're not getting the right things. Just get your bag. Don't give it your boss hell, because they've got enough pressure. You're just not seeing eye to eye. You're just not on the same rhythm. You're not on the same path of energy. You've got to change that. So go and change your job. And now you have a great opportunity because, do you know what I mean? It's you have a great opportunity to change your job. I don't think anybody should change their jobs right now, because job security is the biggest thing that we need right now. Is a sense of place to go back to, and see our friends. But actually, will you now? Have you been a little bit of a shithead in your salon? Have you give your boss hell? Have you disrupted the team from doing great work? Have you disrupted that? It only takes one person to spoil everything. It takes one person to spoil everything, and that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't have that in your salon.
I've got a few questions here, but one question is: would you recommend the Dyson Hairdryer?
No.
Okay, why?
Do I recommend that Dyson Hairdryer?
Yeah.
I like it. I'm getting used to it. I've actually only picked it up today, so I can actually talk over the top of it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting used to it. I do like change. I do love change. I like it. I like to kind of have different things and change now and again. Yeah, but do I like it? Yeah, I like it. Do you know what? If they want to give me one and they want me to endorse it, I like it even more. That's another big thing, isn't it? The bigger you get in your career and the more you do great things, people start giving you things. I love that. Oh, do you want to use my product?
Well, tell you where I am in my career. I ain't got anything yet, so there you go.
You haven't got anything. Yeah, it's coming, bro. It's coming. I'll tell you what, it's coming. This is your breaking point here. Do you know what I mean? This is where life starts changing for you, like really changing for you. It will. The good things is going to come from this.
I'm not going to lie. This has been an absolute full-time job, but I've loved every minute of it. But enough about me.
Full-time job. I've been doing the same thing because I've been pushing my online education. I did a webinar this morning, and 10 minutes before, my card crashed. I didn't know the technical information to go on. I was like, oh my, and my panic and anxiety, and I was going, everything's going wrong. My life is shit. And then the missus comes and says, it's not going wrong. Breathe. It's going to be okay. I'm like, okay, it's going to be okay. And guess what? Everything's okay, but we have higher expectations of ourselves than other people do. And if we had a technical fault, like we had a technical fault, who cares? No one died.
No
one died. So let me show you the rest of the haircut.
Well, someone's asked to recap that as well, actually. They've just joined. I think they would like to recap, and someone's asked to show the disconnection. But again, I keep jamming with you and talking, and I'm losing track of my conversation.
It's all right. Well, look at that. Like, okay, so let's just recap this haircut in particular, because this is just one that I'm jamming with. I haven't texturized any other haircut at all. This is just as it was. So if I took that section here, I mean, look at that. I think that looks pretty cool. I could put a little fringe in there. I mean, it looks a bit Noel Fielding at the minute, but I'm sure we could snap that out. But I just wanted to see what that does. So I could play with this all night, and kind of get some real, like, tinker with a side fringe. I just wanted to show you. really stood to this is a bit higher now, but I pulled my angle up. So I kind of said, right, I want a square angle. So I'm going to stand square to the haircut because what your body does dictates what the haircut comes out as.
Yeah.
So if you're standing like this, your haircut's going to stand like this, you know, and if you're just kind of twisting into it, but if you form your shape around the floor, like, you know, so what your body does dictates what the hair does. And I love that because if I'm stood here and I cut everything here, it produces a different outcome. And if I just step to the left, there's another look. If I step to the right, if I step in, usually you nip off the edge. Remember that, you know, that little edge around here and you got a hole in your bottom. Yeah. So I'm going to show you this now. I'm just going to show you very quickly, but how you can kind of like really just change a haircut just from, you know, just cutting nice bit pieces off. And then this haircut just becomes a new animal. You know, I'm not going to go into this with absolute sheer precision. What I'm going to do is just show you the outcome if you just change something, change the way you look at it, change the way you feel about hair, change how you look at hair. Just understand it. And then just different things and different outcomes. If you just change those little things today, 5 years' time, it can be a whole new ball game. And it's probably, you know, I could go into there. I don't really want to refine it too much because I can sit there and refine a bob till my heart's content. So now I'm just going to come through the front shape, just take that off. And just, I'm just having a little play here. Some of the techniques that I'll show you in my times is I've picked up from somebody else. And it's always I picked it up from someone else and they've showed me a passion for what their creativity does for them. And then I get the same passion back. So if they're, you know, doing something, I go, oh, I like that. So I keep evolving. I keep changing as well. You know, I've changed my technique from, you know, I used to be more of a texturizer sort of guy. Then I got into my more precision work. And then I got into something else and something else. And you can see that whole shape is just a bit different. You don't know why it's different, but it's different. And then, I mean, we could just float around that front shape a little bit. I'm looking at that. It's got a bit of softness to it. So I'm just going to use the heel of the blade around the fringe and just try and lighten that out a little bit. And this is then just going to start evolving. And I'll try different things that I haven't tried before and see what happens, because Mrs. Manny here, she don't mind. You know, you all right, Mr. Quinn? She's all right. She's okay. She's having a good time. She's having a good time. You having a good time? Having a good time? Do you ever talk to your dog's head? Or just me? Just me. No texturizing. I haven't done anything in there. I've just kind of like produced a different kind of look. That's a little bit heavy around the edges. But I know I was short on time and I need to get back to my baby. And I've been working all day and I feel very inspired. I've really enjoyed our conversation today. Is there any final questions, guys?
Yeah, get your questions in, guys. Give the video a share because Dad has given us his time. Like I said, he does this as a paid job, so it's nice of him again, like most artists on here, to come on and give their time for free. So thanks for everybody watching. Give us a share. But any questions, get them in now before he finishes. But I'll let him recap and talk to us about what he's done.
Yeah, and do remember, guys, I'm doing free education on Mondays. You have to go to We Are Perfectionists. Go to the Instagram site. I've just launched it, so it's very young, it's very new. Like anything, it needs support. And I want to do a good thing. I want to continue to do a good thing, and that's teach on the Mondays. I hold a 3-hour seminar. Today was very successful. You know, it was beautiful, and it kind of just really gave me a sense of belonging. And hopefully it gave everybody a bit of inspiration as well. And the stuff I talk about is real. You know, it's real life. It's stuff. There's no pamby. This shit happens, bro, and this is how you overcome it. This is how you get fit. How's that look on camera, by the way? I can't actually see what I've done.
Yeah, sorry, apologies everybody, but as usual, Dan can't see what he's doing. He can just see me staring at him, usually eating my food. But yeah, Dan's done a great job there. It looks fantastic. There's a great light. The lighting seems to have sorted itself out, maybe because it's gone darker outside.
Bouncing off of that. Get some shots of that, guys. I love my artistic work. If you want to go onto Daniel Granger Hairdressing or go onto my Instagram, Daniel J. Granger, there's a lot of the work that I've done with my best friend, who's Dan Thomas Photography. He's amazing. Hey, tell you what, there's a lot of use of having a best friend as a photographer. I tell you, there's a lot of, yeah. So much respect to all the hairdressers out there. We're going to get back on it soon, but self-educate today, because you're going to need to get in that driving seat, because your salon is going to need you to be at the top of your game when you go back. So if you're younger and you're a bit underconfident, come onto my course next Monday. It's free, totally free. Register, get it in. We'll see you there.
Absolutely.
Simon,
one more
thank
question
you so
before
much.
you go, because
Okay, go for one more. Yeah, no.
it's a friend of, it's a new friend of mine. I've only met him the once, but I had a lovely time. But someone has asked me, what scissors do you use?
What do I?
Scissors do you use?
God, what scissors do I use? I mean, we've gone through that. I'm going to teach you now. Like, I use this scissor and I use this scissor. That's it. I use two scissors.
Yep.
I've got two in my bag. And they're good friends of mine. Akito. These guys here. Now, I believe in these guys. Do you know why? Because they believed in me. They got behind me, so I got behind them, and they produce everyone. There's loads of good scissors out there, but the person that belongs to the brand hit my heart, and that's why I choose Akito, and they're bloody good.
They are good. I'm actually in the process of buying a pair. I'm doing an online consultation with him. Like I said, I've only met him once, and I'm actually buying these pairs of scissors, guys. So I'm not endorsing it because I'm getting them for free or anything like that. I actually want to buy scissors off this man.
Yeah, you do, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a kind man.
Yeah.
He's a kind man. He's a kind woman. I love John and Katie and their son Riley.
Thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for your time. But I'll let you sign off to everybody.
Guys, good night. God bless you.